Here's a clip from the most recent episode of the Big Auntie Energy Show. And then our last topic of conversation before we bring in my guest is going to be the latest Red Table Talk. I personally absolutely love the Red Table. They really do. I think that Jada, Gam, and Willow really bring a lot of great topics of conversation to the Red Table. They have a lot of great guests who come on and are able to give a lot of knowledge of their experience. And the most recent one, which I didn't know was coming up, was Queen Latifah. She was on the Red Table Talk. This came out, if I'm not mistaken, late last week. So it's been out there. If you haven't gotten a chance to check it out and you are listening and watching on Facebook after this show, go ahead and check out the Red Table Talk. It's really, really good because Queen Latifah brings to the table a conversation about weight, and how Hollywood and even the entertainment industry treat weight, but most importantly, how we as Black people should start to have the conversation about weight. And that brings us into our main topic of conversation, but most importantly, for my first guest on this live show, which is my girl, Breezi. I'm going to add her. Hey, girl.
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Oh, bien, ¿y tú?
That.
Okay.
So, so Breezy and I are really good friends. We have known each other. How long have we known each other? We've known each other for a while.
15?
Yeah.
17 years now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's say 17.
Wow.
Well, we know each other from school. And the reason why I brought Breezy on is because not only did both of us watch this Red Table, but what I thought was really dope was, like many of these controversial conversations, of course, I called her immediately and we started talking about it. And I said, hey, I think it would be really, really dope to have you on so we can do what we normally do in private, do it here, because I thought it was just a great segue into the conversation that Queen Latifah and Jada were having, which is about Black women and specifically surrounding weight. So I'll just jump right in. How did you feel about the Red Table Talk?
I thought it was good. I think it was a honest, open take on it. You know, especially watching it from Queen Latifah, I've always, she was always one of those people like, yeah, accessible. Mm-hmm. And so when she was saying that they consider her obese, I was just like, oh, wow, excuse me? But Hollywood's a different game. Society's a different game. So I thought it was good. I thought it was a healthy conversation.
I agree. When I first saw it and they used the word obese, like Jada says, obese comes with a negative connotation, but specifically for me, I'm just like, I wouldn't consider her obese. You know, like I don't know how tall she is. She seems like a very tall woman, probably at least in the 5'8", 5'9" range. Mm-hmm. But even then, like, she just doesn't seem like, she says, like, I mean, she's big, but she ain't. When I think obese, I think a lot of us think like my 600-pound life. Like, we're thinking like big, right? Like, and so I thought that was very interesting that technically through your BMI count, you could be on that spectrum of being considered obese.
Yeah.
And I thought that was absolutely wild. And like you said, with someone like a Queen Latifah, she's absolutely gorgeous, and her talent, I mean, outside of the fact that she can sing, she can rap, she can act her ass off, I thought that part of the Red Table was very interesting. Now, one other part of the Red Table that, you know, we did talk about was the other women who were on there who were, they were fans of Queen Latifah, and they were talking about different aspects of living in a bigger body. Not all of them, but also when it comes to body imaging. What were your thoughts on that part of the Red Table Talk?
It was rather relatable because it is a different world. And to actually hear other people say that out loud and have that conversation, it was like, oh, okay, we can talk about this now, because a lot of times it's dismissed. And that experience is dismissed as, oh, well, if you don't like it, as if it can't be liked, just change it. Like, that's all you have to do. Like, no, it comes. There's a couple of steps that come involved with that.
Absolutely. One thing that stuck out to me was actually there was a young lady who was on there who was a rapper, and she talked about how the industry treats women who are rappers and the expectation of what their bodies should look like.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, that was the first part that kind of, grabbed me and, snatched my edges back a little bit, because she's, she openly admitted that, as a rapper, she really wasn't getting far. And so she went ahead and got her breasts done.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, she was on the fence and really not feeling the idea of getting a BBL. And that's a Brazilian butt lift, the fake booties. But fake booties, fake booties.
Okay.
Um, but she talks about a serious and understandable fear about not only getting a BBL, but honestly just coming to it like, look, I want to be known for my bars and for my skill and my ability, but that's the direction that a lot of the rap girls are going in, and that's the rappers who are really popular are the ones that got body all over the place, whether it's real or whether it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite rappers, Rhapsody, and she's not one of my favorite female rappers. She's one of my favorite rappers.
Rappers, period.
Period.
Yeah.
Like genderless. Um, we all know that if Rhapsody was showing more, that she would have just as much popularity as a lot of these other girls.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't get that because that's not the look that rap goes for. So, what were your thoughts? I mean, did you catch that one too?
I did. When it comes to that, it's always been like that though. And since we can remember, it was like, okay, we had our Foxies and we had our little Kims, but we had balance with it. Now it's just like overly sexual, and and maybe I'm at the age now that's just too much. And should the bodies be embraced? Yes. And natural bodies be embraced? Yes. It's just not enough of a balance for me. I'm not mad if sis want to go get her body done. You're more than welcome to, but don't make it seem like that's the only avenue for a body to be acceptable. And then again, it's still adding to that over sexualization of Black bodies, no matter what size, but it's always sexual. I'm not a fan of it.
And that's so true, because I feel like in the 90s, right? Like I feel like in the 80s and the 90s, there was a strong balance, because we had our Queen Latifahs, we had our MC Lights. But even with Lil Kim, it's crazy, because what Lil Kim was doing back then, we was like, whoo, this is racy. Like, ooh, this is a lot. I remember one of my favorite Lil Kim songs, I always do it when I do karaoke, is Crush on You. And remember, Crush on You was like
iconic.
Yeah, but that was risque. Like, wait, she got on a fur bikini and a mink. What is going on?
A moment.
Iconic. But we thought that was racy, and I mean, nowadays, I mean, they gonna bare ass, like full bare ass. I agree with you. I do feel like there's not a balance, but that also leads us into one of the conversations we do generally have a lot. And I'm gonna do this one before we go into the viral video, but it's the idea that when it comes to policing and body shaming, there really technically is no perfect body. Correct. When it comes to Black women, in my opinion.
Correct.
There just isn't. And it gets to a point where I'm like, I don't know what body is acceptable, because they dog Lizzo. Like I said earlier, Lizzo, huge fan. Outside of the ass out on a public seat at a basketball game.
Because what was the reason?
How did we get there? How did we get there? Like, outside of Lizzo having bare ass out,
right?
She's shamed constantly. I mean, she's berated constantly. I can't even imagine what her DMs look like, because I can look on the comments and it's wild. But y'all berate her. Then we got someone like Meg. Again, huge fan. Love me some Meg Thee Stallion. But Meg has a natural body, you know, her breasts, her thighs, her ass. But then they talk about, well, Meg is so tall and she looked like a man, and how could she do, like, they trash Meg. And then you have Coi Leray, who is another rapper, artist. I don't know if it's
An
full rap.
entertainer. An entertainer.
Yeah, she's an entertainer. But then they was dogging her because she's too skinny. They were like, "Oh, you don't eat, what you shaking?" And I'm like, well, what size is all right? Like, what size is okay?
Every size and no size at this point. I just wish people would mind their business and let people live. That's just the best way to put it. This should She's thin. That's her build. Let her live. Meg, that's her body. Let her live. Cause y'all, that's what y'all say y'all like. That's what y'all claim y'all like. And
That's what they
then
said.
Lizzo gets extra because God, and I'm gonna say it, we were trained to hate fat bodies.
Oh.
You might not be intentionally fat phobic, but some of it has been ingrained. And as somebody who's been in a fat body for, I don't know, almost 37 years, I it's liberating seeing Lizzo, but it's also scary seeing Lizzo because
Mm.
she does things that then all of it, everything gets depicted on us. So when I was younger, Monique, oh, I was Monique. When Precious came out, I was Precious. You know, you become whatever the it fat girl is. And when
Oh.
she does things that to me are just over the top attention seeking, not even genuinely her, now it becomes, oh, that's how we all act, or this is why we don't like bigger bodies. Same token, I don't see anything wrong with her living her life, showing her body, because if it was in a smaller body, y'all wouldn't care. Yeah, and it's not
Lizzo
to hate on any of that. I'm just saying we wouldn't care if it was a smaller body.
is so crazy. I remember this dude literally talking shit about Lizzo. Like, dang, how come every time she on Instagram, she's showing ass, and she don't got no clothes on, and this and the other. And so what I did was I was like, let me see who else you follow. So I was like, let me see if you follow Meg and if you follow Cardi, right? These are the three biggest stars, right? So, you know, you go on their Instagram, you go to that person's page. So I go to
Mm-hmm.
Meg's page and I can see who I follow and who follows me, who also follows Meg.
Mm-hmm.
He's following Meg and liking her
Mm-hmm.
pictures because I can see if we're friends on Instagram. I can see if you liked certain pictures. I
Yeah.
can see if you're following certain artists. He's following and liking all Meg's
Mm-hmm.
pics. And he's following, liking Cardi's pics. Specifically, Meg and Lizzo do the same shit. They be doing the little butt twerk thing. They do the bathing suits and the this and that. And I know there's a little bit of an age difference between Meg and Lizzo, but they
Mm-hmm.
literally, if you put both IG pages side by side, they pretty much do the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so acceptable for Meg to do it,
Yeah.
but
Because
not
it's sexy.
acceptable for Lizzo.
Yeah.
In the same vein, right? It's not like they're saying, I don't like women who are twerking
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he was like, I don't like women who be doing all that shit, I'm like, okay, cool, I got you. But it's always, why is Lizzo always doing this? And I'm like, half of the chicks y'all follow do that. And that's how they got, they become Instagram models. What's
Okay.
acceptable? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
I was saying, okay, I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, it's so wild to me. Now, the last thing, because I told you I was not gonna keep you forever, was this viral video. And so, for those who may or may not have seen it, I am not linking this specifically, but it was a podcast, and the podcast is called Highly Initiated. And there is a moment in this podcast where there is a young woman who is talking about how big women are able to get and keep a man, specifically because the gist of it was that broke men and men who can't find good women, or women who make a lot of money or whatever, or if they don't make a lot of money, they go to bigger women because those are the only women that are going to take them, who are going to, and specifically who are going to feed them, which I'll get I'll go ahead. But skinnier women are bigger women are the ones who would take them and feed them and keep them safe, because they're the ones who have the ability to do that, and they have to do that in order to keep a man. So she equated to this idea that big women can only have bum niggas. And again, I am paraphrasing. Many people have probably seen this video because it had tens of thousands of reposts and views. What were your thoughts about that? Because girl, you know me, I'm like, the points they were trying to make, I was just like, how does that correlate to big women? Like, I didn't get the correlation.
It's a stereotype that's been around for a while that in order for us to find love or have love, that we have to pay men, or they can do whatever they want, use us, we'll take care of them just so they'll stay in our lives, because nobody desires fat women. What kind of confused me, it was, why is it that, sis? Like, why do you feel that way? How do you know? And a lot of people said, well, if a big girl just took him in, just say that. No, it's deeper than that. That's the issue we have between us, is where we feel comfortable speaking on another woman to down her, to project. It's projection. I say that. I wasn't a fan of it. There's been a couple videos floating around, like another girl said the same thing, talking about, we walk around big as fuck and act like we're chosen when we're really for help. And to know the hell it is to be a bigger woman on this planet, to know what you get called, how you get viewed, how the world views you, and to still find yourself to be that girl, is a feat. And that's for anybody, actually. To wake up in the morning and say, I'm her, no matter what size, is a feat. So imagine now being said, oh, you can't even be confident in who you are because you don't look like the aesthetic. It's getting really corny. I'm over it. Like, I'm not gonna say that I've never been that stereotype before when I was younger, because I didn't know any better. But I can tell you that I know better now, and I can't. She said about help. I can't help a nigga do nothing. All I can do is drive a nigga nuts, and I'm great at that. I'll drive a man crazy.
Drive them bonkers. So, this is the wild thing about that video, and that clip, which was, to me, my mind goes so literal and logical, which was like, everyone has to eat. Everyone has to eat. And I know big women who can't cook, and I know skinny women who can't cook. I know pretty girls who can't cook, and I know pretty girls who can. Like, to me, the food argument, like, dudes need big women for food. And I'm thinking to myself, like, everybody eats. Like, y'all niggas talking ate today, right? And there are women who are full-blown married and don't cook. Cardi literally said, like, I don't cook and I don't clean. And that nigga Offset stay cheating on. Well, I don't want to say stay cheating on. Let me not. Sorry, Cardi, I didn't mean to say that. I swear to God, I didn't mean to say that. But whether you cook or not is not going to keep a dude with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's a better example. Like, whether you cook or not is not going to keep a dude with you. Whether you're a big girl who can cook or a skinny girl who can cook. Like, I can cook. I throw down in the kitchen, and I'm single AF. You throw down and you got a man, and Ben had one for a minute. Like, I just didn't understand the food equation that was put in there, and then the idea that that's the only way that big women can acquire, like, get men and keep a man. Again, that, to me, it's like, logically, that doesn't make sense. That's not even one of those, okay, yeah, not everybody, but most situation, because there are women of all sizes who be with trash dudes. Like, trash dudes aren't only with big women. Broke niggas aren't only with big women. Like,
The equal opportunity. The equal opportunity.
It to me, I feel like sometimes people, and like I said, with the title, this is like big girl, small girl. Like, this is the kind of conversation we have because we are able to be honest with each other. To me, I also feel like you said, number one, I think it's a scapegoat, and I think it's tired. I really do. I feel like that same thinking and that kind of like, oh well, big one, she only got him because she feed him all the time. Like, it's tired. It's real. It's giving lazy. Um, and then the other part, the other side of that coin, which is how do we stop this narrative, specifically when it comes to body shaming, and body shaming another woman, because it's also giving she's got something you want. It's giving you saw a big girl with a dude and he was tossing her around like a goddamn pizza dough, and that's what you wanted, and you don't have that happening for you. Am I close?
I think it's all those things. We can stop when you're secure in yourself, you don't worry about nobody else. Let's start there. Start really loving you how you show up in the room, because how I show up, I don't care who in the room. I'm her. Because it took me a lot to get to believe in myself, to believe that I'm worthy and that I'm and I create the vibe. I always say, you know what? I don't complain about the wave when I provide the water. And so
Oh, come on.
when you and I know that sounds
I need that.
arrogant.
Where my little, I had last week I had the little sound, the little I don't have it. I don't have it this week.
But I want all my sisters to have that feeling about themselves, because what is that? Baby, do you know how we could thrive in packs versus alone? You know, sis, if it's a matter of cooking, I can teach you how to cook. Like, like I'm not being funny. I'm saying it could be love, but I can tell you, I can tell you what really did upset me about that video.
Okay.
In that clip, there was a gentleman who was a big girl himself and had the audacity to fix and perch his lips to say, they do. You one of us. How you want to sit here and act like you the pick of the litter? It's confusion. I said, but
listen,
you got a body shaper on just like me.
Listen.
I be so confused. Dudes be having food eyes, fat upper areas, and really be out here talking about the big girls. I'm like, but you're one of us too, sis. You want some powder for your underboob? Like, listen. Come on, you out here, you a man with titties. I'd be confusion. I digress. I'm done. It makes me upset. It really unnerves me. It really unnerves me when you don't know you're part of the tribe and talk about the tribe. It's giving very much confusion. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
What is that?
Girl, I put these lashes on.
I don't know why you did that to yourself. Now you gotta get yourself together and do the fluttery eye thing.
These joints were legit. I didn't know that when you put lashes on, these bitches will melt on you. Like one tickle of a laughter, and these are gone.
Yeah.
You're literally having me weak. Because the funny thing about it was, so all of these subjects, I always try to do a little research. I have a little bit of background.
Mm-hmm.
So when I found the clip, found the podcast and the video, I saw them, before I clicked play or anything. And I was thinking to myself, nigga, you big. Like, you a big dude. You got titties too. You hot just like me.
I was like, how? You shop and you were shopping in the big and tall and the husky boy section. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Husky pant at some point in time, sir.
You had some rolled over sneakers around about the early 2000s. Don't do this, brother.
Lean.
It hurt.
Your shoes leaned and rocked with it. And I'm not body shaming men. I'm not body shaming men.
I might be, because I'm going to say this. I want men to stay out of. Can I say how I talk?
I think you can say vagina coochie.
Okay, I need men to stay out of vagina business. Men lately have been just twiddling their thumbs in the tea, and I'm confusion about that. They do. How do you know what they don't have, good brother? When I'm sure at one point in time, some girl that you liked said, "Ew, no."
I don't do big. Listen, and we look. I'm gonna tell y'all, we keep it real funky. We keep it super funky. I personally have never dated or been with big guys. That's not my cup of tea. but comma semicolon. I also am not. I don't hate bigger bodies. Now, I may have my feelings about certain things that are said. I even fell out with a friend because we had a disagreement about her personal thoughts and her journeys, and we had that conversation. I knew where I could have been offensive, even though I wasn't trying to, right? But it's one thing if you're like, hey, my preference isn't that. I don't really date bigger dudes. But I'm not like, well, I don't fuck with big dudes because, big dudes, they're going to eat you out of house and home. Like, men eat you out of house and home. I eat myself out of house and home.
You got to feed them like at least twice a day. It's crazy.
Girl, men, look, that could be a whole.
We'll talk about
I
that.
don't understand where they put all of the food. I don't get where it goes.
Well, I got a thickums. I got me a thick bitch, so
My best friend, I was at my best friend's house. I was at his house and
Yeah.
we were talking one time on No, sorry. I was on FaceTime. Yeah, I think he was on FaceTime. And he was like, yeah, I'm about to, we're talking. He's like, yeah, I'm about to eat real quick. You gonna hear me crunching? I was like, oh, okay, whatever. FaceTime. This nigga pours a whole bowl of cereal. And I mean, he's talking and the cereal is just going. And it's still coming out of the box. And I was like, first off, and he ate the whole thing.
Yeah. And he thoroughly enjoyed his meal. Okay. That was good eating.
Everything. And so I know we go off a tangent, but when it comes to these subjects, like I said, for me, it's always the connections that people try to put and try to make things make sense. It just doesn't. Like the dollars really don't make sense. The idea that big women only get men because they feed them. I'm sitting there like, well, if you're a small girl, how are you keeping a man? Because I know anytime I've dated dudes, I have to keep my joint. Like I have to keep food in my kitchen. I have to keep snacks. Like I had my homeboy come over one time. He's like, you don't got no snacks? I said, you just said you finished eating. Niggas always eat. And it doesn't matter what size you are, you have to always eat them. Like you have to eat them. Like, and then the idea that bigger women are willing to tolerate foolishness that skinny women aren't. Again, where is the scientific facts about that? Hell, where's the Negro facts about that? Because we all got friends who've been with a dude and he is absolute trash and she stayed with him. Ain't nobody ever say, oh, well, she be staying with him because of his size, because she big and he ain't. We be like, well, she probably staying with him because good. Like, let's keep it a buck. And anyone who's watching in the comments, seriously, if you've had a friend who's been with a dude who was absolutely trash, was any of those thoughts because of her size? That's why she was with him. I've never had that thought. Maybe it's me.
No, it's crazy because when you really sit back and think about like, people really think this, like people really share these sentiments, where people really feel like one person is not deserving of affection until they look a certain way, which is crazy because the person could still have the health problem, but as long as they still look aesthetically pleasing, it's okay.
Right.
And even with the thinner girls, I don't know who the child Benzino's daughter, because I don't know how to say her name. I'm not gonna do it, but I don't think it's fair that she comes and shows it, because you say you like skinny, you don't like fat. So she comes out with a petite frame and she's not enough. So that should tell you all of it's jacked, and just show up how you show up.
Absolutely.
Don't automatically assume because of one thing, oh, well, you're thin, you're the picture of health. No. And I'm not going to say that being bigger doesn't come with issues. That would be me lying. But everybody has something.
Very true.
And so we'll work on it, but it doesn't mean we're not deserving of, I don't know, a full human experience without harassment just because of how I came out my mama coochie.
Ooh.
Well, who are me?
Full human experience.
Yeah, that's all.
See, this is why y'all, again, this is why I have you here to do the things and talk about the things. That's why, let me take this banner down. I need people to understand and get into it. It's Brown Sugar Bree on Instagram. Like she drops bars. This is what she does. Look, Breezy, I'm so glad to have you on here. And just so everyone knows who's watching the replay or who's watching this live with us, Breezy and I have these type of conversations very often. I will be bringing her on because this, unfortunately, is a reoccurring issue. And I think it's really great for us to have very candid, honest, and open conversations. Breezy and I do not always agree on the same thing. This one we did because, again, it just didn't make sense. But we know that, issues of weight. And like I said, unfortunately, a lot of it is around Lizzo and some of the things that she does. And these are things that we're going to talk about. We have tons of other things that we love to talk about. We did IG Live last week about what are we doing about
Lori Harvey.
Yes, Lori. Whew. Now that was,
and how black women need to stop tearing other black women down.
And dude, that was a spicy, very spicy, like 2-hour conversation.
Indeed, it was.
I mean, muy caliente. But look, Breezy, I told you I was not gonna hold you, and I did. Thank you so much for coming on here. We were chatting, as everyone says. Let people know if they can follow you. Are you doing any shows anytime soon?
No, I'm my books and editing. You're more than welcome to follow me. Just know that I'm a fool on the internet. So, yeah, I'm just swimming like Dory says.
Just keep swimming. That's all we can do. Thank you so much for being on this show, being my
Thank
very
you for
first
having
guest. We are going to see you so much more. Thank you so much, Breezy. I absolutely love and adore you. We will talk after this.
All right.
See you, girl.
Bye.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this clip. Be sure to catch the live stream of the Big Auntie Energy Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube.